Before we begin, thank you very much to Avatar Korra for joining my Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for the support. So that's 2 of your incarnations, and we haven't announced any future ones, so you're going to have to go back in time to future incarnations if you're going to keep supporting me like this, but I do appreciate it. I do thank you very much for doing so. Okay, so we had a news topic come up that is kind of a big deal because Hasbro announced not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Transformers fan streams, which means a lot of reveals for the 40th anniversary, a lot of stuff that's on the way, a lot. They're going to drop a lot on us this month, which means 2 very important things. Number 1, I don't have to think of 4 videos this month. That's 4 less videos I have to worry about. But number 2, and I think this is the more important thing, this is an appropriate time for a game that I've had in mind for a while now. Now we can finally get to it. So we're just going to be doing a little bit of bingo with the Transformers fan streams. Number 1, because I think it's kind of amusing. And number 2, I kind of want to see just how predictable they are. So either way, whether you are trying to be the first one in your, if you're like Discord watching this one with friends or just want to play along at home, then yeah, we're just going to have a little bit of fun here at the expense of the fan streams. Just because let's consider this like a thought experiment at the same time. So, of course, standard bingo rules here. If you want to cut to the chase, by the way, and not listen, because we're about to explain all the rules of every one of the squares. If you just want to cut to the chase and get your bingo card, the link is in the description below. It generates your bingo card, which means it will randomly distribute the letters, or the squares, so it doesn't matter. You can play along with friends or whatever. Your card's going to be different. So let's go on. We will explain the rules of the 24 squares that are up for grabs. Number 1, blast effect. Pretty simple. If a toy comes with a set of blast effects, mark the square. Leaks mentioned. This one happens pretty rarely, but I have seen it happen. If they mention the fact that this is already known about, or that if they make reference to the fact that news sites have already gotten their hands on these particular figures, then this is the one you mark off. Like I said, does not happen often because they don't like to acknowledge that their stuff is getting out ahead of time, but they do know it happens, and every now and then they'll make mention of it. Studio Series 86. Anything done for studios, anything done in the 86 line of Studio Series, mark it. You know there's ones on the way. Whether or not these are going to come in these set of 4 or not, we don't know. But generally, this is going to be one of those that's probably only going to apply to 1, because you're probably going to get a fan stream that's devoted to Generations, one that's devoted to Studio Series, one that's devoted to 40th anniversary special releases, etc. So I don't expect this one to get marked every single time, but I know it will get marked. Old figure cameo. Okay, so every now and then they'll bring in an old toy to make comparison to the new toy. Like when they did another Junkion from the Wreck-Gar mold, they brought in the previous 2 versions of the mold. So if you see an old figure in the listing, in the stream, go ahead and mark it. And no, the ones on the shelves in the background don't count. It has to be ones they bring out to compare to the new toy. Space Bridge reveals. We don't get these as often as we used to. And I liked these. So this will happen when they have toys that they are allowed to announce, but they do not have completed figures yet, or for one reason or another, they do not want to reveal them yet. So we get just like a little digital image going, hey, by the way, this character's on the way. So if they do Space Bridge reveals, there's your square. Mark it down. Selects release. Alright, this one's pretty simple. If they do anything for Generation Selects, mark the square. You know there's some on the way. If you've watched my leak videos, or if you just keep track of leaks on your own, either way, there's definitely select reveals on the way. I know for fact we're going to get some revealed or talked about during one of these streams. Convert. I almost had this as the free space because I can remember hearing it so often, but I went back and watched a couple of the previous ones while I was coming up with this card, and I didn't hear them bring up the word. So legally, the more often you mention the brand name, the less the less trademarkable it becomes, because you turn it into a generic term that starts to risk its position as like a trademarkable term. Let's put it that way. You're basically weakening the trademark if you say it too much. So the legally way of saying it is convert. A Transformer toy doesn't transform, it converts. So they're trying to get away with saying the brand name if they're not talking about the brand. I haven't heard it recently, but they do bring this term up once in a while. Already out, lol. There are a few figures that people have already bought at a store and actually taken home and have already shown off. So, for instance, the Core Class Beast Machines Cheetor has been bought at an actual store. Not a U.S. store, but has been bought at a store. Today, Cybertron Starscream dropped, and someone has already had the boxed version in hand, out in the wild. So things like that. That is a big. That's an already out lull. If they reveal something like it's a big special thing, but someone has already bought it illegally from a store. Yeah, already out lull. Reissue. Now, keep in mind, we typically call reissues like Generation 1 toys that are coming out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did that for the anniversary, especially if they want to continue the 40th anniversary, like, retro figures that they've been doing. No, this is just any general reissue, like they put out another run of Earthrise Dirge, so if they announced the Earthrise Ramjet during these streams, reissue. So anytime it's just the same figure coming out again, reissue. Pre-order today. This one definitely could have been the free space. If they end off an announcement saying that you'll be able to go to Pulse right, like at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, or noon for your Pulse Premium members or whatever, that is a pre-order today. So whenever you can, just make sure you get your order in the day of announcement. Concept series, here's another one that's only going to appear in certain streams. So if they do a studio series stream specifically, they're going to mention something concept series. I mean, that's pretty much like their bread and butter at this point. Just coming out with all these characters that weren't technically in the movies, but hypothetically they were. That's a mark. Okay, so when they announce the pre-orders, it's not always Pulse. Sometimes, like if they do Generation Selects announcement, they will also mention Fan Channel, which is what they use to describe any independent store from them. So like your Big Bad Toy Stores, your Entertainment Earths, those are what they call Fan Channel. So that's where you're going to get to see a Selects release done. So if one is checked, the other one should be checked. Now, there's only a few in here that I know are going to be like mutually exclusive with each other. So but I kind of want to see. If there's a way that they split up. I'm kind of curious. Okay, free space, obvious. Okay, and then we move on. Digital render shown. They do this every now and then, where they really want to show off a toy up close as much as they can. So they show the digital render, and I don't mean like the photo of the CAD. What I mean is, like, when they revealed, say, Concept Series Megatron, they had a full 360 reveal that literally mentioned the words digital render shown. So that's what you're looking for. If the screen mentions digital render shown, then you give this one a check. That's how you mark the spot. Partial. Here's another legally term. They don't say the word retool. They don't do that. The word is partial. When it is partially a previous toy. That's the internal phrase for it. I think there's something weird about partial, because like partial, I always think of like my grandmother's dentures that only replace some of her teeth. That's a partial. No, a remade toy is a retool. Like, we've been calling it that for years. We're not going to change that. But internally, they call it something else. So if they mention this is a partial, mark the box. Non-toy reveal. Since it's the 40th anniversary, I'm expecting more of this. They've done it previously, where they've brought an artist in to describe the, like like a limited run poster that they have done, or like there's like t-shirt swag or something like that. So if they do something like that, if they announce, oh, there's 40th anniversary t-shirts on Pulse, or if they bring on some artist to describe this lithograph that they did for, you know, for Transformers that you can go buy, those are non-toy reveals. That marks the box. First look Armorizer. So I wanted to throw a few in that are just very specific to certain streams. I don't know how many Armorizers they could reveal. We already seen Shard. So Shard does not count because we've seen him. This is if we get a very first look at a new Armorizer. It's a very specific box, but I didn't want all of them to be easy. I wanted a few of them to be like toss a coin, see if it happens kind of figures. So brand new Armorizer that we have not seen before. Considering we've only seen 3, you know, the 2 that are out and the 1 that's upcoming, then that's not too bad of a chance of getting another one shown. Still unfinished. So this one is something I noticed a few times when they will bring up the fact that a toy that they are actually presenting, because what they show on the stream is usually the first run from a factory. It's usually a test shot. So it's always the one that they can go back to the factory and say, this needs tweaking, this needs to be a little bit darker, we need to add some different paint to the head here. They did that previously for Studio Series Mirage as well as Generations Bludgeon. So this is for any time they mention that, yeah, like this didn't come out the way we wanted. The final version's going to have this extra paint on the helmet. The final version's going to have darker plastic. If they mention any of that, then the toy that they're showing is unfinished. Mark the box. No Earthspark reveals. Self-explanatory. We know, for whatever reason, Hasbro marketing just really does not like bringing up Earthspark, even though it's starting to produce some really, really nice toys. Like the deluxe, there's some really nice deluxes in that line, and now they've got the Energon combiner looking, you know, cyber combiners that are really fun toys. Those are just really fun figures to mess with. So if they, so you know, you can get through an entire stream and they don't reveal any new Earthspark toys, which, you know, with season 2 on the way is kind of important. Mark the box. This one again could have been the free space. No unleaked reveals. This is the long bomb. This is the long bomb, but I've seen it happen. If they go an entire stream and nothing that they show has been revealed in any way, shape, or form, mark the box. So if they do the stars, if they announce the Star Seekers, now we haven't technically seen them as of this recording. Leaks are going crazy right now, so that could change by the time you see this. But if they were to reveal like the Star Seeker line, that doesn't count. Like, because we already knew they were coming because of listings. So this is if they get through an entire stream and literally nothing is a total surprise. Like, okay, well, we knew Cannonball was on the way. We knew Lockdown was on the way. That's not a surprise. So if there's no, if they go in the entire stream and everything they reveal has been leaked in one way, shape, or form, mark the box. Another Optimus Prime. This is a pretty easy one. If they do if they show off an Optimus Prime toy, mark the box. I could have done this with Starscream. I could have done this with Bumblebee. I decided, well, let's shoot for Optimus Prime because I know there's a few in the works. So we'll see if they mention any of them because I'm sure at some point at least one of them will. Capsule line reveal. Okay, so this is more general. So like, in this case, if they do mention the Star Seekers, mark the box because they are revealing a brand new capsule line, which for those, again, this is in, you know, using their terminology. Capsule line is whenever they do a toy line that is exclusive to one retailer. So if they do like an official announcement for the Amazon Mayhem Attack Squad and hopefully do the reveal for the last set, mark the box. If they announce the Star Seekers, mark the box. You know, this is not like an this doesn't fall within the rules of, well, we already knew it. Gamer Edition. New Gamer Edition figure drops, mark the box. That's a pretty easy one. Toy falls over. This is rare, but I've seen it happen. It happened when they did the reveal for the Optimus Bumblebee Core Class playset. If they get a little bit clumsy and a robot mode toy hits the ground, if part of them touches the ground that's not supposed to, mark the box. And finally, for your bingo card, designer name drop. This is, again, could have been the free space because they basically mention this every single time, but if they mention one of the Japanese designers who worked on the toy, mark the box. So, pretty simple. Pretty simple. Really didn't need a 15-minute video to explain it, but hey, I need content. But this is just so we can have a little bit of fun with the fan streams this month. So, like I said, in the description below, you're going to find a link that will take you to a generated bingo card. You can print it out and play on your own with actual paper. And if you got a bingo stamper handy, then hey, go nuts. But you can also just play digitally. You can actually click the boxes on the link, and it will check the boxes off on its own. So, there you go. So, that's just a little bit of fun for you. So, go, hit the link, have fun with the streams this month. And thank you for watching. As always, I will see you next time.